there we go. Oh, there, finally.
The link should be different now, just so you know. It should be a different link.
And
let me see.
Okay, hold on.
You are live.
Damn right we are.
But the video's unavailable.
Well, wait, what? What? How come?
Studio mode. Let me reload this.
Oh, jeez.
Did you send out the link?
We're good. We're good. Now, I'm going to send it out right now. Here, let me...
Sounds good. That way I can also like tell my peeps, yo, I'm online with Genovi and I'm going to kick his ass because he hates Spider-Man Maximum Carnage.
Yeah, that's a problem. It's something we're gonna have to talk about here a little bit.
We totally should do like a video on it sometime. Because here's the thing. Okay, the combat mechanics, the hit detection is spot on.
Okay,
I love the comic book style. The cutscenes are amazing. The music is good. Spider-Man has a ton of different moves. Like, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, he has a lot of moves, and the cutscenes are kind of cool, but it doesn't really make a game, though. I mean, it's completely broken outside of that. And when I say broken, I mean, when you have levels that are essentially the size of a Mortal Kombat 2 stage, and in order to stretch out the gameplay, you have to require that you walk from one end of the stage to the other, back and forth, while it's super zoomed in.
It's true.
And there's no backgrounds really to them either. I mean, they're extremely dry.
Yeah, no, that is true. But then you have like some really awesome boss fights. I mean, and what I like is that most of the boss fights you fight against, or like most of the characters that join you, they're for the most part pretty unknown characters. It's not your Iron Mans or your Thors, your Hulk. It's like really unknown or lesser known Marvel characters and Marvel enemies. Like, I had no idea who that girl was that Carnage escaped the Asylum with. I had never even heard of her. Yeah. See, I had no idea who she was. I had never heard of the doppelganger spider.
Well, I mean, to be fair, a lot of those characters were created for that story arc, though. So, and here they're trying to push the story arc, which wasn't actually well received, and in a lot of people's mind, it kind of ruined the Spider-Man universe going forward.
Really?
So, I'm actually a DC Universe fan, but I collected DC stuff. My brother collected Marvel, and for him, that was kind of like the downfall of Spider-Man. And it took, I mean, we're talking like a full decade before he's able to get back into the books because of that series.
Well, the thing is, it works as a video game storyline. Now, if it works,
no. It definitely does not work as a video game storyline. And the problem is here. We'll get into this in just a second. I want to introduce everybody here. The man that you cannot see is Michael from Space Asylum. My name is Genovi, and the other man that you're seeing down below me is St1ka, the famous St1ka. St1ka is actually hosting the stream on my channel for me because of my incompetence. I'm not able to get it up and running. Hence, why we were 45 minutes late. So, thank you very much, St1ka.
And now I have your YouTube key. So technically, I could literally hack your channel right now if I wanted to, or like steal your channel.
If you want to, take over and be me, that's okay.
Well, yeah, you have more subscribers than I do, so clearly I do want to do that.
That's the goal.
Yeah, damn right.
So,
right. There we go.
Welcome everyone to this inaugural live stream for this channel. It's just mainly a BS session.
Is that Jimmy there?
Jimmy is here.
Oh wow, royalty! We got some YouTube royalty with us.
I actually did not intend on being on camera. The idea was to shoot down onto my desktop and show you guys a bunch of stuff I picked up at Portland, but it was not to be the case. So I'll have to show it right here at the front of the screen. So hello, Doug. Welcome, Jimmy. Hello, Video Game Boutique. And Alan, welcome. Yes, Russian hacking. Except the man's not Russian. He's Portugal. Or Portuguese.
I just realized. Sorry. Yeah. I just realized I had the wrong link open all this time. My bad.
Were you over on your channel?
It's been a confusing journey.
Mm-hmm.
No, like, man, 0 viewers. What's going on here?
Yeah, I was like,
who's talking to?
No, I was still opening the old link, the old private link. And I was like, wait, why isn't this working? So
well, there's been like 3 different links. It's easy to confuse.
yeah, so I am an idiot. And let me see. And I just realized I have the chat open. There we go. Much better.
Oh, I highly doubt they'll do that. I'm okay. You know, St1ka and me, we go way back. He's a good friend of mine, and that's why I trust him with my key.
Basically, what I do is I try to acquire a person's confidence or trust, and then I steal that shit when the least expect it, basically. Well,
yeah.
So
you know when you upload a video, it probably takes them 20 minutes just to add the captions to it. So I don't think there's no issues.
Well,
anyways, back to the conversation at hand, though. Okay. No, did you have something else to add to this?
Well, I did used to add like Portuguese captions to my videos, and then I completely gave up on that idea. Like,
wait, what percentage of the people were actually using those captions?
Less than 1%, which is why I stopped using them. Like, it was such a low percentage, and doing Portuguese captions for my videos would take up to 2 to 3 hours or maybe more, because I had to translate the script to Portuguese and then actually type it out myself on the actual caption editor on YouTube, and that took forever. It was really frustrating, so I just sort of gave up on it.
So how long do you normally spend on a video?
Oh, I do videos weekly. They usually consume almost my entire weekend, like, and then several afternoons during weekdays as well. So I don't know how many hours, but I would say 15, maybe 20. Not entirely sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Oh man, I probably spend more than that.
Yeah, but here's the thing: your videos aren't weekly, are they?
Well, I've been putting out weekly videos, but I skip weeks sometimes. I skipped this last week. I just have too much on my plate, honestly.
Yeah, it happens to me as well. I'm trying to finish the top 30 Genesis video. I hope it'll be done on time. I'm already on the final editing phase, so hopefully it'll be done on time. I hope so, at least.
Yeah, I used to do like weekly stuff, but man, it's too hard.
No, it's definitely a struggle to put out weekly stuff, especially when you get into really long and detailed videos that are highly edited. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a strain on relationships. Let's say that.
No, I think it is easy for people to miss how much of a time commitment and work, and how much of a strain it is to put out videos on a regular basis, I believe.
Yeah, really is.
So have you decided if you're going to break this into 3 parts, or are you going to keep it a 2-parter?
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but the issue is, because on the first video it's basically a top 30 video, but I split it originally. The plan was to split it into 2 parts, and because the first video already has 15 games, I thought it would be kind of weird if suddenly parts 2 and 3 were like 7 games each. Like, it wouldn't be consistent with the first video. If I knew then what I knew now, I would have split it into 3 parts and basically just did like 3 top 10s, like, you know, numbers 30 to 21, then 20 to 11, then 10 to 1. But because I didn't do that first, I'm now gonna stick with just 2 parts. So it's gonna be the second part will be the final video on this top 10, on this top 30 video.
What's your runtime going to be on it?
Well, just the voice recordings, the audio recording is currently at 23 minutes, and I still need to add like the intro, the outro, and then there's parts where I had like 20-second footage of each game. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be about a 30-minute video in a week.
Oh my God.
So I am
man,
killing myself.
I highly implore you to divide that into 2 videos. I think you're hurting yourself.
But do you think
that's a lot.
Do you think people will you think people will quit halfway through?
On a 30-minute video? Heck yeah. And your analytics are going to get hit really hard too, because you'll have people tuning in and maybe watching, 4 or 5 minutes at a time. And so that brings down that percentage by quite a bit. And if you can keep that video to like 10 or 12, maybe you actually want to break it into 3 parts if it's going to be 30 minutes and try to keep them all around that 9 to 10 minute mark each. I definitely don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that kind of gives you a little bit more freedom to work on additional projects and push those out down the road, maybe get a little bit ahead of what you're doing currently.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
I might. I guess I could record like I don't know. It just feels really like, looking back, I really should have just made three videos with 10 games each, and now it just seems like cutting this one halfway through. It seems like it's coming out of nowhere, and that's kind of what worries me, I guess. Like, I don't know.
I've watched so many, and we'll get Mike's take here in a second, since I just keep on running over the top of the poor guy. Mm-hmm. But I've seen so many.
I'm used to it.
I've seen so many videos that are, this kind of has a nonsensical pacing to the way that they actually put them out, to where it might be like 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then you get down to the top 3, and it's like 3 and 2 get their own video, and then number 1's getting its own video. So I don't think it really matters how you cut it, as long as you're decreasing in a fashion that makes sense.
I get it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think. I guess I'll have to think this one through, but also gonna have to think fast, because something's gotta be released on Thursday at least. But yeah. I do see the logic behind splitting it, because it is kind of weird. Like, I have had people tell me that I should make longer videos because of YouTube's algorithm and how YouTube prefers longer videos. But then there's also that other side of the coin, which if I make the videos too long, people might just quit halfway through. So it's kind of hard to balance the two out, I guess.
No, I fully understand that. Mike, what's your take on this?
I'm pretty much damned if you do, damned if you don't. To be honest, it's just like I don't understand. I'm not doing that well, so probably can't take too much advice from me.
But
I always tell people that have lower subscriberships, though, that it's really important to look at your subscriber participation per video, and if that's above about 15 or 20%, then you're actually doing really well. When it falls below that number, then you need to start asking yourself, what are you doing wrong? And you're receiving constant growth, and your biggest problem is probably the consistency that you put out new videos. But there's probably nothing that you can really do without putting out trash in addition to what you're already doing. You follow me?
Yeah, I thought about putting out some trash, but that was Jimmy's advice.
It's not a bad idea. It's something I can't do on my own channel. I couldn't live with myself, but I understand why people do it. But you are growing, and when you actually look at the amount of views that you get compared to your sub count, especially, your channel is actually doing phenomenal for the size that it is, and everything is really relative to how many subs that you actually have. So when you're actually pushing over that 100 view mark for your videos, even though you probably have 40 plus hours in each one that you produce, you still have to be kind of proud that you're performing that. And let me tell you, when you actually have a video that's successful, I finally had one that took off a little bit.
Yeah.
That will backfeed a lot of your other content. Unfortunately, as I was telling you at Portland, that video that took off, it has been heavily recommended to Japan, absolutely killing it. So it's not recommended anymore. And the retention rate went from being like 75% on that video down like 40 something. And it's all because of these Japanese people that tune into the video. And obviously, I don't speak Japanese, so they're not sticking around to watch it.
You got to get some captions on that, man.
I know. Well, I have. Let's see. I'm working on episode 47 and 48 right now. 49, I have some ideas. 50 is going to be a real big one. I've been working on it for about a year and a half.
Whoa.
And St1ka is going to caption it in Portuguese for me. So I was thinking about asking you to caption it in Japanese for me, because it's actually actually very relevant to the Japanese and Brazilian market.
Sure.
Oh, really?
Oh, I know which one it is. I won't say what it is, but I know which one it is. I already know.
I have no clue.
I do. Because I already helped you out with some work on that video, right?
You have, and it's not like it's a secret. It's a documentary on St1ka and his influence on the video game industry.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it's a secret or not.
It's not something I'm posting online, but I don't mind talking about it here.
Jimmy Happy says Michael can only capture it in Weeb.
Did I tell you I'm fluent in Weeb?
Yeah, weeaboo. Actually, a quick question,
Jimmy.
Toby. How long are your videos usually? I can't seem to remember right now. How long are your videos usually? Like I have the impression they're usually like 20 minutes or so, aren't they?
Oh no. I try to keep my videos about that 10 to 12 minute mark, but I find that even if they're a little bit shorter, they're performing just fine. This M2 unreleased video that's coming out on Tuesday is going to run right under 9 minutes, and then the one that comes out the following week is going to be about that same time. Under 9 minutes.
But what exactly?
The preference, though, the sweet spot, I think, is 10 to 12 minutes. And in Video Game Boutique, I appreciate that. I appreciate you watching them all the way through to the end, and being on board with my channel. I put a tremendous amount of work into each of these videos, more so than I think most people realize. I think the reviews are the easiest videos, but when you get into these unreleased ones, the research, the amount of magazines I have to go through. I create all the box art myself, because even if box art exists for them, it's typically like 100 pixels by 100 pixels, and that doesn't look good on a screen.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, there was this one time I made a thumbnail for one of Genovi's videos, because that's just what I do.
I love St1ka,
and it was a Maximum Carnage video, which with the game you hated, goddamn.
You made a couple thumbnails for me, and I appreciate those.
So, Genovi, like you said, you made your own box art, right?
Yeah, if you've ever watched any of the unreleased series I've done, all the boxes I did myself.
Where did you get that printed off? Did you print it off yourself, or?
You're talking about the box art? Well,
yeah, where'd you get it printed off?
Well, I didn't print them; they're in the video. So I just I scanned a 32x box on my scanner at home, and then I removed the art, and then I just do custom art behind that 32x banner. For the M2 videos, I had to create the whole deal because there is no M2 box out there. And for the CDI ones, I just scanned a CDI game that I have, and it's just a bottom layer on the CDI game. So I just lifted that off and use that for every game and do something that's somewhat relevant.
Funny thing is, sometimes when we do review more obscure games, it's not uncommon for it to be very difficult to find the box art for those games. Like when I reviewed Mansion of Hidden Souls for the Sega Saturn, I could not find a decent size box art of the video. So literally what I did was I took my copy, I took a picture with my phone, and then I put it on Photoshop and I started editing it. Otherwise, I'd have no thumbnail to use. Like even games that were released sometimes can be really difficult to find a good image of the box art for it.
Howdy, Forpin. Thank you for joining the stream. The people that you see here is myself, Genovi. The other man with white headphones on is St1ka, and the man without a face is Michael from Space Asylum, a channel that you absolutely need to check out. It's amazing, especially if you like the Vita.
It's pretty crappy.
Let me go.
It's not crappy. It's actually one of the best edited channels under 10,000 subs that I know of.
Thank you.
Let me go and subscribe to Space Asylum right now.
And
subscribe.
So Doug wants to know,
let me subscribe
which video game channels do you all follow?
I follow quite a few channels, but the issue is, even the ones that I like and follow, I don't have as much time as I used to. But let's see. I love GameSec. GameSec is one of my favorite channels out there.
Oh yeah, I watched that.
I also like Boundary Break, which is a channel where the guy basically he has a software that allows you to explore a game beyond the character's limitations. So like he could zoom in really out and see the entire world map, or access areas that are forbidden to the player and see like little secrets or little Easter eggs that the developers leave around the games, or just like content they forgot. What else do I follow? I used to love Console Wars, which is like they're basically like two guys who did Sega versus Nintendo comparisons, but sadly, apparently one of the guys is having some health issues and he had to stop making videos,
that's really unfortunate. Actually,
it's a shame.
It seems like two really nice guys.
They were awesome. They were really awesome, and in some ways they actually did it. They were their channels and videos, they sort of influenced mine in a way, because they always felt very honest, very down to earth, a bit silly, but silly in a very honest way. So and I wanted to make my channel like that, like very, very open, very honest, and they always felt like that. What else do I follow? I'll follow Implant Games. I really like the guy. Then of course I follow you, Genovi. I follow Historic Nerd. I follow Jimmy Happa. I refuse to follow Yahel because he likes the CDI, and anybody who likes the CDI does not deserve to be followed.
I agree.
Let's see. But yeah, those are the major YouTube channels I follow. But there's more. I'm sure I forgot them. Like every day when I get home, I don't have a whole lot of time to watch videos like I used to. But one thing I always do is like I go to my subscription feed and I see if there's anything new, because I watch more YouTube than I watch television at this point.
Yeah, me too. Easily.
Yeah.
So, all right, Space Asylum, you're up.
Oh shit! I mean, oh darn.
Who do you watch?
You know, I just I watch Mr. Hoppa. He's pretty cool, I guess, and just like
oh my goodness! I hope he's not listening. Go on.
Oh, okay, and you know, just I like Radical Reggie. He's pretty cool.
I've actually never watched his channel. I'm ashamed to say.
Oh, really? It's funny. I'll never forget the day he put out a video about how he had like a popsicle that he like left on his game stack and just like ruined a bunch of games. I was like, damn, that's so him. Yeah. Other than that, like I do like Red Letter Media. I like them a lot too.
Oh, great channel, Red Letter Media.
And
I did once ruin like this actually happened last week. I discovered that both my copies of Crazy Taxi and Virtua Fighter 3 for Dreamcast were not working. So those were some bad news.
Oh man, you have disc rot on them?
I think that's probably what happened, most likely. Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
One thing I discovered is that apparently Sega was very cheap with their Sega Saturn and Dreamcast games. Like, those are very prone to disc rot.
I think what really happened, and I want to finish up this other question and answer Video Game Boutique about. I think that was who asked about who my favorite channel. Oh no, it was Doug. So I want to finish that up here in a second. But the real problem that you have with disc rot and some of these properties like the GameCube is that the quality of the pressings just weren't very good. So when you have these low quality adhesives starting to go bad, then it allows oxygen and stuff in there, and you start having oxidation of these different metallic layers that hold the information. Mm-hmm. And I mean, when you look at new formats like the GD-ROMs in the Dreamcast or HD DVDs, which were never used for video games, but every one of those just about has issues. Oh. I mean, they never really got past the phase of actually perfecting that technology of pressing those discs. So if you actually go and try to pick up any old HD DVDs, they're almost all gonna have issues.
But like the HD DVD isn't even that old though. Like it's like 10 years old or so, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 10 years old. So I mean that just shows you that when the stuff is poorly pressed and the adhesives that they use are of low quality, you're going to have problems. And that's why it's really common to see problems within the same title set. So like on GameCube, the Twin Snakes are all going to have problems for the North American pressing because for whatever reason, you'll see the whole entire pressing is bad. So the first sign that pressing is going to be bad is you look at the top of the disc and the label is actually peeling, which doesn't actually ruin the disc, but that's a sign that the pressing itself was bad and that the rest of the disc is going to fail if it hasn't already failed.
Interesting.
And then from there, the adhesive starts to go bad, and the adhesive, like on a DVD, it holds together two plastic layers, and then between those two plastic layers is a data layer. It's typically made out of some sort of metal alloy, and that will start to oxidize as it comes in contact with the atmosphere. So, the trick is to try to keep those discs sealed together in some form or fashion, and keep them out of the elements. But when you're using poor quality materials like they did in HD DVDs, and the format of pressing those discs isn't perfected, you're going to have problems.
Interesting.
Jeez.
Okay, I guess it does make sense, but it is kind of scary because it means that it means that a lot of retro games pretty much have their numbers, their days numbers, because sooner or later they're gonna die out.
Yeah, so I think, just from doing a lot of research on this, I think it's very safe to say that if you pick up a Sega Saturn game and you look at it and it's clean, there's a good chance that it's going to survive another 25 years.
Okay.
But if you pick up a Sega Saturn game and you look at it and it's not clean, then there's no saving it. There's nothing you can do. The game's ruined at that point. So it's very important to actually inspect the games that you're buying and make sure that they're clean at this point. And as far as new media goes, I mean, it's kind of unknown territory, The pressing practices for DVDs and some of these newer discs like Blu-ray, they've gotten a lot more sophisticated. The resins are, they're a lot higher quality. So we're seeing a trend to where if the disc is actually good 10 or 15 years from now, it's a high possibility that disc will be good 100 years from now because of the quality of these resins and these adhesives that they're using today.
Also, Genovi, it's your turn to answer your favorite channels.
Yeah, you got to get to that, man. What's going on?
Yeah. Hey, and welcome to the stream, everyone who's just joining us. Nope, it's not about disc rot or disc lifespan. This is just three guys getting together and BSing. I was going to actually show off a bunch of my stuff I picked up from Portland, which I might still do. And this was supposed to be the first stream on my channel. I was having some major problems, though. So St1ka actually picked up the reins, and he's streaming for me through my channel, so you guys can just see us and BS. It's just a hangout on a Sunday. It's a reason to get together to BS and hang out with you guys. So, so my favorite channels. I actually opened up my list so I don't forget. I'm just gonna mention a couple of them here. I really love Basement Brothers, and they're a group of brothers. It's a smaller channel, about 1,000 subs. But one of the brothers, he calls himself Neo Alec, and he has a complete Neo Geo MVS collection. And he's currently reviewing them in order of release. And he has a really dry, deadpan sense of humor. But I love it, man. I mean, I think his videos are hilarious. And they're so detailed. He covers the MVS card, the AVS card, and the Neo Geo CD release. And he talks about comparisons, and the videos are absolutely incredible. Chris Chapman, one of my favorite channels on all of YouTube. His stuff is essentially like what I do, but higher quality. I mean, that's how I feel about it. It's just documentary type of stuff that focuses on stuff that I'm not familiar with, and that's probably because he's from the UK. So his outlook on gaming and whatnot is a lot different. But it's another small channel that puts out incredibly high-quality content. Let me take a look down my list here. I of course, love Daniel. That's DJ Slopes. And,
yeah. I've seen some of his.
Yeah, my favorite series from him is his Kick Scammer series. That's the one I always tune in. I don't always catch all the other gaming stuff that he does. I mean, it's okay, but the Kick Scammer stuff, man, I can't get enough of it.
Those are the best.
It's like crack on YouTube, man.
I know. He did one on like food kick scammers, and I love that one.
Let's see. Game Hut. You guys familiar with Game Hut?
That name
no, I never heard of that.
That sounds familiar. Hold on. I'm fairly certain I've heard of that. Oh, I know who this guy is. Yeah. Game Hut is awesome.
Yeah, so his name is John Burton, and he is the founder of Traveler's Tale over in the UK. And if you're unfamiliar with him, he essentially released some of the biggest games on the Mega Drive, and later created the whole entire Lego game series, and then he produced the Lego movies. So that's all done in-house. If you are familiar with the new game Tanglewood, he was involved with that's Matt Phillips. He was involved with that company as well, and he did a lot of the sound engineering behind the Lego Batman movie. So a huge pedigree of amazing people, and that channel essentially is focused on the tricks that they implemented to create video games on the Saturn, Genesis, and PlayStation. That's the systems that he covers. It's really cool.
Yep, I saw him do like a video on the tricks on how he did the first-person level on Toy Story for the Sega Genesis. It's kind of amazing the way he got that to work.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, a really cool guy.
Yeah,
Let's see. Jimmy Hoppa, of course, he's in chat. So what's up, Jimmy? I think he's in chat at least. I absolutely love his channel.
He's been plugged all day, man.
He is getting plugged all day. Hopefully it doesn't hurt, Jimmy. Hopefully it doesn't hurt.
I think he likes that kind of stuff.
Jimmy, the only reason we're plugging you is because you're on the chat. Otherwise, we would be bad-mouthing you right now. I literally had a 5-page script on how much all the three of us hate you, Jimmy, just so you know.
It's true, I've seen it. Yeah, so Jimmy's channel, if you're unfamiliar with him, he mainly covers Japanese games that never left Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, things like the Dr. Hauser 3DO game release is incredible. I was unfamiliar with the game, and is a game I would never touch even after he talked about it, because I don't understand Japanese and I want to understand the narrative behind the game.
I wish there was an English version of that game. I wish.
My life
There's no fan translation?
Don't know. Maybe. It is a 3DO game, so 3DO games, I'm assuming they don't have that much of a translator
fan
following,
base?
I guess. Yeah. I would assume. My Life in Gaming also know them. Great channel.
Yeah, I don't think I need to even talk about them at all. Let's see, I'm scrolling a little bit more.
I think My Life in Gaming was the reason why I even got my Frame Meister too.
Yeah, you know, actually, I know that a lot of people really respect My Life in Gaming and how they have improved a lot of folks' video quality as far as gaming at home. But for me, it was actually Retro RBG, which is ran by a guy named Bob.
Yeah.
And he runs this incredible website. And if it wasn't for him, my setup wouldn't be what it is. So I'm fully in debt to him and his website for the great quality setup I have at the house that allows me to also capture great quality footage for my YouTube channel.
Nice.
Let's see. Is there anyone else on my list that I really feel needs to be shouted out? Yeah, my buddy Vince19. That's another good one.
Oh, I see. Great channel.
Yeah, Vince19 he's a statistician by trade, actually, and so and that's what his video covers. You know, that's what his video series covers, is statistics in video games. So nothing else like it out there. And I mean, he has a degree. So, you know, I mean, that's what he does.
I have a degree.
No, I mean, he has a degree.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, you don't want to know what Mike's degree's in, though.
I graduated in being cool.
It's great.
Jimmy Hoppa University.
Well,
and of course, I mean, there's tons of other. There's tons of other guys that I love watching. I love Historic Nerd, which we talked about, and he's also a good friend of mine. And Wrestling with Gaming, he's also a good friend of mine, and I love his content as well. I mean, I've become friends with so many amazing creators on this platform. It's one of the reasons I started my channel, and I mean, there's a lot of great content. It's where I spend 99% of my viewing time is on YouTube watching other people's content.
Yeah, I just watch my own.
Video Game Boutique is asking, how could you guys not mention Classic Gaming Quarterly and the Gaming Historian? I love the Gaming Historian, but I have no idea who Classic Gaming Quarterly is, sadly.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, I actually, I mean, I don't have a problem with his videos. I don't dislike them. I just don't enjoy them. And the Gaming Historian, it's the reason I didn't mention him isn't because I'm not sub to him, but I don't watch all of his stuff. A lot of it is kind of long-winded for me, and I mean, I think that just says it all. You know, it just really depends on the subject matter. He puts out incredible content, but not all of it is for me. I highly recommend anybody going and sub to him, though, that's interested in gaming history, because I mean, if it's a subject that
my only issue with the Gaming Historian is his videos are great, but damn it, does he take a long time in making them. Like, he will spend 3 to 4 months without any new content, and then finally you get a new video, and it's like 1 hour long. And I'm like, well, I gotta watch this in parts. I'm not gonna watch a full video in 1 hour.
Ooh, I got a burn here. If you're friends with so many good content creators, why you got St1ka from all people to your first live stream?
I think it was just technical reasons, right?
Yeah, I'm the tech monkey. I'm the tech monkey.
I actually invited him early on today. So no, St1ka's actually one of my best friends that I've met through through doing my show here. I actually talk to him every single day offline, and
you need your
he's
friends,
just
clearly.
he's like one of the most genuinely awesome people that you could ever talk to. He's really great.
But now I want to know what games you got, Genovi. What you got for us? Show me.
All right.
I got some games too, actually.
I want to see that blind box.
I bought some games this week. In fact, let me go and get them really quickly.
Did I miss anybody's questions here? I was just chatting a whole bunch. And
let me check the chat as
Golden Age of Gaming. Buck Rogers wants to know, what gen would you say is the Golden Age of Gaming?
Ooh, difficult one. If I had to say the Golden Age, well, the thing is, I guess the Golden Age technically began with the 8-bit systems and lasted all the way up to the end of the 32-bit generation, I guess. I mean, because with 8-bit systems, 16-bit systems, the 32-bit generation, they were all great games, a great time to be gamers, and I feel that the whole corporate entity or the major companies weren't being too abusive back then, whereas by the time the PS2 came around, we started seeing DLCs, we started seeing like a lot of unwanted sequels, some poorly produced games. I would say the Golden Age of Gaming lasted for 3 generations, but that's just my opinion.
Mike, do you have an opinion on this?
Yeah, I mean, like, as far as the Golden Age, I'd probably go with, like, just 16-bit era, because that's the one I have the most fondness for, and it's old. That's my joke for the day. I guess I'll see you guys later.
Good night, everybody.
Well, the thing is, Video Game Boutique, is when you're talking the Golden Age of anything, a lot of times you're kind of looking at the introduction to what really defines gaming or anything. Could be what defines music or what defines comics going forward. So like with the Golden Age of comics, you're gonna be looking at like the introduction to Superman and Batman, and with the Golden Age of music, you're probably looking back to possibly the Beatles, maybe a little bit before that. So with gaming, like what really defines gaming, and for me, the Golden Age is probably going all the way back to 80s arcades.
Whoa.
And that to me is the Golden Age of gaming. So I don't know if that quite answers the question that you had in your mind, but for me, when we talk about the Golden Age of gaming, it's definitely early 80s arcades.
So you're talking about games like Robotron, for example, or Food Fight.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Miss Pac-Man, the original Mario Brothers.
Galaga. Not gonna lie. In fact, I did a video about this. I was at on a cruise a few months ago, and they had like this tiny little arcade, mostly filled with modern games, and they had there like a Donkey Kong machine, a Pac-Man machine, and a Galaga machine. Like, even though they had all of these modern arcade games I never heard of, though I tried them out, I literally spent like $50 on Galaga, like no joke. Like, look, I wouldn't rest until I got my name on the high score in Galaga.
All right, so you guys ready for this?
Damn right.
Sure, let's do it.
Show us.
Yes,
right.
Let's see it.
Looks like a Saturn game. I'm going to say it's a Saturn game. I think it looks like
is a Saturn game.
Damn right.
You see this?
Oh, it's Road Rash.
Yeah, Road Rash. I picked this up because I'm actually working.
Can you lift it up a little more? There we go. Much better. Road Rash. I would love to own that
I can't see myself yet, so I don't know where I need to be on the screen.
Okay, no worries.
Okay. Oh yeah, Road Rash. Nice. I remember that.
Yeah.
I would love
so I picked this up because I actually want to do a series on Road Rash, so I'm trying to pick up every version ever released. I think this was the last one I needed right here, so expect that soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get that version someday. I don't care too much if it's the Saturn or the PS1 version, but I like to get it sometime.
Hey Kevin, how you doing?
What's up? Wasn't there like a Road Rash on Genesis?
Yeah, there's 3 of them actually on the Genesis. And
I remember playing 1.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3 on the Genesis, and then you have the remake, which is on the 3DO, and then that got ported to the Saturn and the PlayStation, and then you had on the Game Boy
port and the Mega CD.
Oh, the Mega CD. That's right.
And and you had the Master System ports as well, which is basically a demake. So you have the same game across 3 generations, the 8-bit, the 16-bit, and the 32-bit.
Yeah, I find that really interesting that they actually, that nobody, you know, demakes of games have become extremely popular, but I don't think a lot of people realize that most of the Master System games were actually demakes of Genesis games.
Yeah,
and that kind of puts them in an interesting light for me.
This is because in Europe, the Master System was marketed as the budget console. So like they had the Mega Drive, and they were like, okay, but if you want to buy a gaming console for your kids, but you don't have enough money to spend on a 16-bit system, you could get a Master System where it's cheaper and the games are cheaper. So that was basically the strategy they used, and it was a very successful strategy.
Okay, so let me try to reload my window here and see if I can see myself a little bit better.
Okie dokie.
Okay, the next game I have for you, can you see it?
The next game, yeah, I can see it. Oh, Shinobi, great game as well. Great game.
Yeah, I've never owned this or played this, but I'm a huge Shinobi fan. If you watch my Mega CD, I can see myself now. If you watch my Mega CD rundown video, I talked pretty extensively about Shinobi on the Genesis and how compared to the Sega CD version versus all the revisions across the Genesis, and I have a fondness for the Shinobi series.
It's interesting too because I'd like to get the US versions of Revenge of Shinobi and Shinobi for the Sega Saturn because they're different from the European versions. Europe, as far as I know, never received the Revenge of Shinobi version, which had Spider-Man, Batman, Godzilla, like. The earliest iteration we got had some of those already removed, and Shinobi for the Saturn has a different soundtrack on the Sega Saturn in Europe for whatever reason. They changed the soundtrack. Really? Yeah,
that's interesting.
Some people, I have heard that the European soundtrack is actually the best one, but I'd still like to check out the game with the US soundtrack or Japanese soundtrack. You know what I mean. Hey,
take care, Jimmy. I will definitely message you when I get done here.
See ya, Jimmy.
See ya, Jimmy.
And welcome to the stream, Retro. The people that you're seeing here is I'm Genobi, the man with the white headphones is St1ka, and the man without a face is Space Asylum, also known as Mike.
Also known as Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Doug R is asking... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Doug R is asking, which Road Rash was the best one?
Well, here, I got the best one.
Hold on. Show.
Go ahead and talk.
Okay. Well, I should point out, I am not... Oh, the 3DO version. Okay, I see it.
There's no question about it. This is it.
I should point out, I'm not a big fan of Road Rash, though. Though, I only ever played the 8-bit and 16-bit versions, but I was not a big fan of those games. So right. I can't say my favorite version. I do not have one.
I only played like way back when I was way too young to remember, so I don't even know what version it was. So,
well, that's why I need to get this definitive video out so you guys know exactly what version to play because it's actually an incredible series of games. It really is, and there's so many to choose from, including on the Game Boy Advance, that a video like mine really needs to. Really needs to just answer the question.
Will it include the Master System version, your comparison?
Well, do you own the Master System version?
Sadly, I do not.
Oh,
I do. Sadly, I do not.
How do you say? I'm smelling a collaboration here, St1ka.
I'd like to actually, but sadly, I don't own the game because that game in Portugal is one of the fabled Portuguese purples, which is basically.
Portuguese.
Yeah, we had like a some exclusive packaging in Portugal, which are known as the Portuguese purples, and now they're like ultra expensive because they're very rare editions, and like you have like a lot of collectors worldwide who specifically import the Portuguese purple editions, and Road Rash was one of those, and because that Road Rash is kind of expensive in Portugal.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought about making a video about the Portuguese purple, but there isn't enough content to make a full video on it, I think. It'll be like 5 to 6 minutes at most.
Sounds like enough content.
Yeah, Video Game Boutique. I don't know about next time. I haven't actually got it ironed out yet. If it wasn't for St1ka, we wouldn't even be having this stream here, so I have some stuff to iron out on my end before I do something like that.
I'll see if I can help him out with his OBS settings.
So the next one up is Revenge of the Ninja. I don't know if you're familiar with this.
Yeah, I know.
What makes this
an FMV game, right?
It is, and what makes this game really interesting is that it was actually developed in Japan and only released in America.
Oh,
interesting.
I know the Master System had a lot of games like those in Europe, at least games developed in Japan and released exclusively in Europe.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd deal, especially for something that's fully voiced, you know.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
All right, next up.
Oh,
Three Dirty Dwarfs.
Oh, great game, and a very expensive game at that.
Yeah, it is. It was a. Well, I don't know what I paid. 115's on the case. I probably paid around 100 for it. Was that a good deal?
Yeah. I'm not too familiar with the US prices, but in Europe it would be the expected price, I guess. The expected. It's what I would expect you have to pay for that game. Yeah.
Hey Eric, thanks for joining us. All right, I got so many games, man. I was saved up for a whole year for this show.
I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous.
Oh, wow. Nice one, crazy. All right, next up is Guardian Heroes Advanced.
Oh, now that game I'd love to play sometime as well. The issue is I still don't know if I like Guardian Heroes for the Saturn or not. Like I've played it once or twice. And
what? St1ka, come on! You're telling me you don't know if you like Guardian Heroes for the Saturn, but you like Maximum Carnage. What kind of man are you?
I've said this before.
Oh, he's calling you out right here.
I've said this
is
before.
Going to be recorded forever.
For whatever reason, Treasure generally does not click with me, and I don't know why. I don't like Gunstar Heroes. Like I think it's okay
St1ka,
at best.
Get your passport in order. Get a plane ticket. Come to America. You can stay at my house for a week or two, and we'll play through these games. You need a friend. That's what's going on. They're not fun by yourself. You need a friend to play through these games, okay?
That makes sense. Because,
you have no friends.
Here's the thing. Like, I've played Gunstar Heroes.
It lives very close, too.
Like, it's just... I've played Gunstar Heroes, and I was like, it's okay. And I had the same issue with Guardian Heroes, with Ikaruga, with what's that Saturn shmup, the really expensive one. Damn it, I forgot the name. That really rare and expensive Saturn shmup by Treasure.
It's a Radiant Silver Star.
Yeah, Radiant Silver Gun. Now, like for whatever reason, Treasure games they rarely click with me. Very rarely.
I've never played Radiant Silver Gun. I don't own a copy of it. So
I don't either. But there's a version on the Xbox 360, so I played the demo at least.
Okay.
Probably the only one I played is you guys know Code of Princess. No. It's like the only one I've ever played.
What game is that actually?
It's on the 3DS.
Oh.
Yeah, I own it. I've never played it though.
It's actually pretty good. It's just kind of quick and easy. So if you ever want something quick and easy, and Jimmy's not there.
Oh snap! Snap! Oh, I wish Jimmy was there to hear that one.
All right, moving right along here. Up next, I have Mario Pinball Land.
Is that game good? Is it good?
You know, it is. It's really freaking good. I actually really like pinball games. I have a massive collection of pinball games. Oh. And I picked this up about 2 weeks ago. I've owned it for a long time, but I have my Game Boy Advance sitting out here at the office. And I put it in the Game Boy, and I thought, man, I'm really wondering if this game is worth a crap or not. And I started playing it, and it's like an hour went by. And I had somebody knocking on my... Somebody's knocking on my office door. Sean, are you in there? I'm like, oh crap! I'm trying to pause it. Can't pause it. I have to shut it off. So you know, man, if I can find that cheap, complete in box, I better get it because it's freaking good.
Oh man, that is awesome.
Hey, thanks for stopping by, Retro. I appreciate it.
See you, Retro.
Thanks for coming by.
We'll catch you again, man. All right, this party keeps on going here. Let's go.
Man, you must have spent $1,000 on all those games. Or over $1,000.
I spent about $1,000 all year. I spent about $1,000, and you haven't seen everything yet. Okay.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
All right. Okay.
Spent like $100.
This is the biggest picture that I made. Our biggest purchase I made.
Ooh.
Here it goes.
Wait, the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
I'm not kidding. It really is the biggest purchase I made. This is
Really?
Casino Kid 2, complete in box.
Oh, I remember you talking about that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
There must be some sort of cultural difference here because I have so many questions right now. Why?
It's just the love of money, man.
Why? How much? And why?
I'm moving away because I'm going to get you Casino Kid 1 really quick here. Hold on a second.
But why?
Give me 1 second, St1ka. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
And... Oh, rather... There's something else I wanted to show you, but I don't see it really handy. It must be in the house. Okay.
Show me.
Here's Casino Kid 1.
But are these games expensive or just a sequel?
And Casino Kid 2. Casino Kid 1 is about $25 complete in box. Casino Kid 2, I paid $100 for it. It can easily go for about $200 if you can find it. Just search on
what?
But it's a casino
That's crazy.
game. Who cares? Why?
No, it's not a casino game. It's actually a Japanese business simulator, and it's put out by St1ka, who typically publish games, but in this case, they actually developed this game, and they developed the incredibly famous Wall Street Kid. You familiar with that game?
Oh, okay. So it's like a
Yeah,
business
you're saying
simulator.
that, yeah.
So this is like these are like pseudo sequels to Wall Street Kid, and I grew up with Wall Street Kid. I have a major love for the game. I have it sealed somewhere around here, and eventually I want to do a series on Japanese business simulators that made it to the United States. So I don't know exactly what kind of business this is simulating. I guess losing your fortune at the casino, but it should be pretty freaking awesome. I'm really looking forward to it.
So those are basically casino simulators instead of like a regular casino game?
Yeah, it's actually has a full storyline behind it as well. So
That's pretty cool.
Only the Japanese would make a storyline out of a casino game. Seriously, that is amazing. That is freaking amazing.
Well, that Wall Street
actually a lot
Kid
of
game,
fun.
I don't know if you ever played it, but you play as this guy who's fresh on the Wall Street, and you got this really bitchy girlfriend that you have to marry, and you got this boss that doesn't like you, and you're essentially gambling on the stock market, trying to make it rich, and it's great, man. It's freaking great.
Only the Japanese would do that. Seriously.
Nice.
So are there any more games?
Oh, dude, I got so many more games. We're not done yet. Hold on.
Okay.
Unjammer Lammy.
Oh, Jammer Lammy. I know that one. That's the spin-off to Prepper the Rapper. And did you know the voice actress of Jammer Lammy is? I think she went on to star in. I think it was Grey's Anatomy. I think. I'm not even kidding. I think she's one of the main actresses in Grey's Anatomy.
I know nothing about the game beyond just its roots, essentially. So I'm looking forward to playing it.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that either.
I know that I like the game, but I'm pretty sure she went on to be one of the main actresses from that TV show. Let me check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grey's Anatomy. Yep, she was in Grey's Anatomy.
Really? Wow.
All right. Up next, we have Space Pirates.
Oh, I know that game. I know that game. That is the okay. I generally don't care about FMV games, but that game is an exception. I've watched the entire playthrough on YouTube, and I was like, I would so play this game. That game is like the cheesiest thing ever. So yeah, that is a great purchase, Genovi.
Yeah, all the American Laser games are pretty cool. In fact, if you watch my next unreleased M2 video, which is going to drop on Tuesday, I talk a little bit about the history behind American Laser games, and they're actually still in business, believe it or not. So it's kind of an odd deal.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they really are. They actually make it's called Her Interactive now, and they make games that target young girls.
You should make a video out of that, out of their history, and all the way to today.
Okay, this is going to be the last CD game that I'm going to show you. But I have a lot more games still, so we're still going.
I'm so jealous, Genovi. I am literally jealous.
Okay.
Oh, I've heard. That's an indie game, right?
Game Panic 2. Yep.
But I haven't checked out. I haven't checked out the gameplay for it yet. Is the gameplay fun? I haven't checked that out yet.
Hold on 1 second. Hey. Yes. Is everything okay?
Oh no, it's the wife. It's the wife.
It was the wife. So yeah, I don't know anything about it. John Hancock was there. He signed it for me.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice guy.
Man, I would love to go to a gaming convention and see all these famous YouTubers there instead of all the terrible Portuguese YouTubers, because they are terrible.
Here's the cool thing about this game. And it has nothing to do with this game because I don't know if this game is actually any good. But when I got it signed, I actually ran into the guy that was responsible for creating Star Wars Arcade and Star Wars 32X. And I got his contact information.
Oh, that is awesome.
So I'll be talking to him for a future video, which should be cool.
That is freaking awesome.
Okay, now we're going to get into where I spent the bulk of my money.
Oh,
First up,
so that's not the bulk yet. Jesus Christ.
That's about half of it.
Oh, God. Okay.
I didn't even know you left, Mike. Where did you go?
I had to use the restroom.
Where'd you come from?
All right, here we go.
I'm still waiting for the blind box.
Ooh.
I got it here. It's in the loop.
Is that the 2600 version?
Oh no, sir. Oh no. This is not the 2600 version.
I don't see it. It's the 5200. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Compatible with the trackball, and it was actually in development and almost finished for the 5200 when the system was actually active, but the system was shelved, so it never came out.
It never launched officially then.
It never launched officially. So Atari got a hold of the original programmer and had him come back in and finish up the game and released it as a homebrew, essentially.
Oh,
so
that is freaking
game.
Awesome. That is freaking awesome.
So yeah, I mean, this is definitely, if I was doing an unreleased 5200, Tempest would be part of it, and we'd be talking about how it's actually received a physical release.
Oh.
And I have a brand new trackball for the 5200, so it's kind of cool. All right, next up. I don't know a whole lot about any of these other games, so I'll just kind of show them quickly. They're all JEG games.
If you have Tower Steel for the Atari Jaguar, I will kill you, just so you know. What game is that?
I don't.
Gotta watch out, man.
Jeff Mintner's Revenge of the Mutant Camels and 2112. So this is the guy that actually was responsible for Tempest on the JEG. And these are additional games that he created for the system that never dropped. I mean, that's my understanding. I don't know if that's accurate.
Interesting. So you got new JEG game. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so
art.
Yeah, the JEG actually has a pretty active homebrew community.
Here's Hyperforce, and I believe this is another game that was abandoned before it was finished. And again, they brought back in some of the original programmers and finished it for release.
It looks like a side scroller. Am I correct? From the front screen. Okay, yeah, it is. Yeah. I want to see more 3D again on the JEG. Damn it! I want to see what the JEG could do.
Let's see. We have Defender of the Crown. This is a port of an Atari ST game.
Oh, I know Defender of the Crown, but what version is that? Also for the Jaguar?
Also for the JEG. The rest of these are going to be for the JEG until I get to... I got one Vita game.
I would totally play that for the Jaguar.
Should have got more, man.
I should have got more. This is Protector Special Edition, which is, I believe, a reworking of the original Protector game by the original developer.
Like, if that's the game I think it is, I've heard people really praise that game for the enemy AI. It was supposedly like really good. If it is the game I'm thinking it is.
Next up, Skyhammer.
Oh, Skyhammer is amazing. I would love to play Skyhammer. That game is like, have you ever played G-Police for the PS1? Or have you heard about that game?
No.
Okay, like it's like in a cyberpunk dystopic future. It's always night, and you're flying around your space car, shooting ships and whatever. It's kind of amazing. And Skyhammer is a lot like it looks amazing. I've seen gameplay videos of Skyhammer. If I had a Jaguar, I would totally buy that game.
You could tell that I'm gearing up for my unreleased Jaguar video series. Yeah. I love the back of this. You can tell that this game was actually in development back in the early '90s because on the back it takes place in 2012 in the distant future of 2012.
Man, I would love to play that game.
All right. Next up, we have, and this game was freaking expensive too. I almost didn't buy it. I came back and bought it at the last minute. Total Carnage.
Oh, that's a sequel to oh wow, they made a Jaguar port of Total Carnage. That's a sequel to Smash TV, isn't it?
It's just like Smash TV, and it was arcade only, and they ported it to the Jag. And it's they had it set up on the show floor, and I played it, and it was great.
You know, if the Jaguar had originally received Total Carnage, Skyhammer, and a couple of those other games, it would not have the very poor the poor reputation it has now, I believe.
Okay, this game I just had to buy just because of the subject matter, and I believe it works with my trackball as well, so I couldn't say no. Here it is. Real Sports Curling on the 5200.
That's a classic.
Why?
Gem there, little hidden gem. Call it Metal Jesus. Get this hidden gem ready.
Just get...
St1ka, I know that you're getting ready to sell your car and buy a plane ticket and come to Oregon just so you can play this game.
Real Sports Curling.
Well, just play some NBA Jam instead if you want a sports game.
To everyone watching this, I hope you don't feel like you're being assaulted with this barrage of games that I picked up over the last month.
I'm feeling freaking jealous.
I'm pretty assaulted.
Hold on. I sent you. Right St1ka, I did send you a box with more games than this.
Oh yeah, that's true. Your box is amazing, man.
Okay, 2 more games left. This is Rebooteroids, which is a new game.
Oh, it's like asteroids, I'm guessing. Rebooteroids.
Isn't that a condition?
Man. You know, if it has like a vector graphics, it could be a pretty game for the Jaguar.
Yeah, it's all vector style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, vector always looks great.
And I was told that this is an incredible game, worth owning.
Oh, do a video on it.
Okay, the last one.
Oh, limited run games.
All right, this is all you, Mike. Go ahead and tell them all about this deal.
Well, wait, hold up. I'm like 30 seconds behind on the feed, so I can't see like anything until you guys have already showed it.
You can check on Skype though. On Skype, you're not behind the feed though.
Oh, like I'll have to check on my phone. I don't know how that works.
Oh, you're on the phone. Okay, never mind.
All right, I'm holding up one of these blind boxes. So tell them all about this blind box because it's being open currently.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know anything about these. I didn't know that Limited Run did this, but apparently, I talked to the guy. He said that they just like whenever they release a game, they just take a couple of them and put them in these boxes and then put them in storage, and nobody knows what's in them. So you might have a breach and clear in there, you know?
Oh, interesting.
Are they cheaper than regular limited run games?
No, they're actually like the average price is like $25 each.
So I was going to buy a bunch of these, and I was under the impression that it was just loose cartridges, and I'm not into that. I don't buy anything that's not complete, so I bypassed them. And Mike gave this to me as a present, which I really appreciate, Mike.
No problem.
So I'm very surprised to open this up and find out that it's actually a complete game.
Nice.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
And the game is...
All right, here we go.
Bum, 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 bum,
and I'll see it here in 30 seconds.
What game is it?
Factorium 90.
I do not know that game.
I don't know it either. Factorium 90. I don't own it.
Oh, I don't know. Factorium 90.
I do not know that game. Let me go and Google it.
Yeah, me too. Factorium.
Factorium 20.
Oh, 90. 90.
90. Sorry, 90. Factorium 90. 10 minutes of gameplay. Let me see. What is this? It looks like a puzzle game. A 3D puzzle game.
Actually, I think I've heard of that. A lot of people give it high reviews, if I remember correctly. Factorium 90.
Well,
yeah,
if it's not...
I don't think I'll... Go on.
I was saying, if it's not... what's it called, damn it? I was going to make a joke, but I forgot to... if it's not Shantae or Xenon Valkyrie, I don't care.
Oh, yeah. I don't think a whole lot of people know about my interests is outside of just what they see on my gaming channel, but I'm a big collector from most systems, and one of my favorite systems is actually the Vita. So when I met Mike, and he actually has a channel that covers the Vita, and he has a collection that's about the same size as mine, it really makes for some interesting conversation. Obviously, I wouldn't be crazy enough to cover the Vita because nobody cares about it.
That hurts. But the truth hurts.
I have the opinion that we are currently in the best time to acquire Vita games because
easily.
I'm fairly certain 10 years from now Vita games are going to be rare and expensive, like really expensive. Like the Vita has a lot of small Japanese games that are being released in very limited quantities, and I'm pretty sure they're going to get so expensive in the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch. Like, just looking at my shelf is mostly JRPGs and stuff like that.
Yeah, not surprised.
And also the Vita has a feverish diehard community. That's for sure. Beautiful Joe 99.
Doug R is asking, is the European market more expensive than North American for games? And it depends on the game. Sometimes it's more expensive, sometimes it's cheaper. And sometimes it depends on the actual country. It can change from country to country. So there's no clear answer. So I did buy some games, but damn, Genovi, you just stole the show here. Like the games I have are the games I bought this month. Man, I'm
not even going to show you the stuff I acquired before going to Portland because there's other stuff too.
Jesus, like I've spent.
I'm a terrible man.
I spent like maybe 100 in total for 5 games. 5 games. 100 in total. That's the price you spend on just one game. But sure, I guess I might as well show what I got this month at least.
Yeah, so, real quick before you hold the thought, and then I'm gonna have you go. D&D. I actually have a complete 32X set. It's one of my favorite systems of all time. And NBA Jam is a review that I intend to do at some point in the future. If anybody in this chat, we really appreciate each and every person hanging out with us this evening. If you guys have questions, make sure you drop them, and we'll try to get to them.
Oh, yeah.
Go on, 1ka. Let's see what you have.
Okay, so I got the Power Rangers the movie for the Sega Mega Drive or Sega Genesis. This is a good game, in my opinion. It's a Streets of Rage style beat 'em up, but it's a surprisingly fun game, believe it or not. Like, it's just the 16-bit period was that odd gaming period where movie to game adaptations were usually not that bad, and this game is fun. It's a pretty fun beat 'em up, and the cool thing is the boss fights is basically you controlling the giant robots, and each robot controls completely different, it just makes for a very fun game in my opinion, very fun experience. It's also not too expensive, so it is worth tracking down before it gets expensive. I also got this game called the Red Star, which is basically a shmup combined with a third-person shooter for the PS2. It's a really odd and unique game. Let's see, I got Galarian's Ash, which is a survival horror, a sequel to Galarian's for the PS1. I think this is made by... Okay, it's made by Sammy. Let's see, I got Cold Fear, which is made by the same guys who made Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare for the PS2. I've heard good things about this game, so I'm curious about it. It's also really cheap. And finally, I got Glass Rose from Capcom, which is basically like an adventure game by Capcom. I've heard it's let's say unique. Like it's one of those where you either love it or hate it. I guess the best comparison I can find is that it reminds me a lot of that Xbox 360 or PS3 game called damn it, I can't remember right now. It's give me a second, I'm gonna get there. Deadly Premonition. They say it's a lot like Deadly Premonition.
You're talking about a whole lot of games I've never heard of before.
This is Glass Rose, you said? Glass Rose is like Deadly Premonition?
Yeah, I've heard it's a lot like Deadly Premonition. And okay, apparently people are telling me that my video is reversed, or people are watching the box arts in reverse. I have no idea why that's happening, folks. I'm guessing it's because of Skype.
I don't know. It looks good on my end. So
no,
oh, actually,
it's reversed.
It's on the live stream. Yeah, it's reversed. I think it's because Skype is showing me my video in reverse for whatever reason. I have no idea why though. But yeah, Glass Rose is supposedly a lot like Deadly Premonition.
Have you played Deadly Premonition? It's pretty amazing.
I have not, but I've heard very good things about it. I have a friend of mine who absolutely loves the game. He will talk about the game non-stop.
It is really good. Like I play the ocarina sometimes, not much anymore, but I learned like the main song there. It's like da 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 da. I love that. It's so amazing.
So yeah, that's pretty much all I got, Genobi. I got 5 games. You got like 30. I got 5.
Yeah.
And I got 4.
D&D wanted to know how does the 32X version of NBA Jam Tournament Edition work? I mean, it's a great version. You can't go wrong with it if you have a 32X. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know. I think the JAG version might be a little bit better, but it's a little bit less approachable because you got those big controllers. So depending on how big your hands are, you might be best to just stick with the Genesis version. I know a lot of people like the PSX version or the Saturn version, but again, you're messing with load times in the disc, and I kind of just prefer to stick with the cartridge. That's just me, though.
How long are the load times, though? Are they long or relatively acceptable?
I don't remember. It's been a while since I played.
No worries.
Before I started my channel, I actually started doing. I was going to be one of my first reviews was an NBA Jam full review, and as I was putting it together, somebody dropped an NBA Jam video doing something fairly similar. They didn't cover the JAG version though, so I thought, if I put that out, then I might be accused of jumping on the coattails of a bigger channel, and I shelved it.
Okay, yeah. I think that's always fair. Like when you're a small channel and then you're working on something, and then I think you're on the back of your mind, you're always kind of afraid that a bigger channel is going to do the same thing, and that'll just pretty much steal all of your thunder, I guess. Yeah,
if it's freezing at startup, make sure you're cleaning the contacts, because that's typically the problem. Take Brasso and clean the contacts, take the cartridge apart. It's always going to be some sort of corrosion issue when it's freezing, when it's starting up and then freezing.
But yeah, like I've always been sort of scared. Like I could be working on a video, and then suddenly a bigger channel could decide to do the same thing, and it's just if you're gonna compete with a bigger channel, you're always gonna lose. So it's always a fear in the back of my head, I guess.
At this point, you're kind of established. I would say Mike is established. His channel's been around for a long time. He doesn't have a whole lot of subs, but I mean, I think that people realize that when we're working on a video, it's not just being pulled out of left field. These things are weeks or months in the making.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
and so I don't worry about that stuff anymore. But when you're starting up and you don't have any videos on your channel, or you only have 4 or 5 videos on your channel, I think you run a big risk of being called out for trying to copy somebody's work and being scrutinized. And I don't think it's worth it. I think when you're starting out, if you see people dropping stuff that's similar to what you're wanting to do, just hold off on it, because you're obviously going to get fewer views, and you're going to be lost in the shuffle anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, I just try to be like the best I can do is just try and be the first. There's a few games that I was like the first to review, but then like later people come out and it's like, boom, you're gone.
I am lucky.
Like, oh well.
I do have one advantage at least, because I don't think there's a whole lot of YouTubers talking about Portuguese and Brazilian gaming history, so I do have that going for me at least.
Yeah, you got that.
It's something. The issue is, I honestly don't know any other content regarding Portuguese gaming history that I can approach. Brazilian gaming history, I have a few ideas. Running in the background, but I think I've run out of Portuguese gaming history videos to make. We're a small country. We don't have that much gaming history to discuss, I guess.
Well, you just have to start some beef with some other YouTubers and
clearly
build yourself up.
I'm gonna start some beef with this YouTuber called Genovi. I don't know if you've heard of him.
You might start with somebody like Jimmy. He's a little bigger.
Oh no. Jimmy Happen, man, he'll catch you up, man. He'll catch you up. No. I cannot risk my life.
Yeah, my copy works fine. So, like I said, I really recommend that you try cleaning the contacts on the cartridge itself, because anytime I have those kind of problems, it's typically an oxidation issue. I've had my 32X since the day that it launched, and a lot of those games, a lot of the series I bought as they released. So, I mean, that happens. It just depends on the climate that you're living in. So just clean those contacts, try to get Brasso or something like that, and clean them up, and make sure that you're washing them with alcohol after you're done, and you'll be surprised that stuff will work. D&D asks, St1ka, what was the arcade scene like in Portugal when you were growing up?
Yeah, I was reading that comment. The thing is, I don't think our arcade scene was that different from the one in the US or Canada or the UK. Okay, just a little disclaimer. Most arcades would not let minors in. Like, you have to be like at least like in your late teens to enter an arcade. Like, you have to be like at least 16 to enter an arcade. So by the time I was old enough to go to arcades, they were mostly already dead, or at least dying. But I don't think they were. But from what I saw or heard from my brother, who was older than me, or like his friends, it didn't seem like they were that different from what you guys have in the US. I think if there is one major difference, and I don't know if this also applies to the United States, so please correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of times arcade cabinets were very generic. Like, let's say you had an arcade cabinet, an arcade for Street Fighter 2. Instead of the arcade being decked out in Street Fighter 2 artwork or whatever, you just had a very generic arcade which had like video game or arcade game, or maybe it would say the name of the Portuguese distributor, and then inside would be the Street Fighter 2 video game. So I think that's the only difference I can think of. That most arcades would have generic looking arcade systems. In fact, I can probably Google a few right now. Let me check it out.
Is that still the case when you're finding these older systems out in the wild?
Yeah. In fact, the issue is when people who collect arcade games in Portugal, actual arcade cabinets, the difficulty they run into is that they want to get the official Sega ones or official Namco ones or whatever, but instead, for the most part, they only run into these generic looking ones, which kind of nobody wants, because they're generic. If you get one, you got them all. There's really nothing to say or do about those. Let me see if I can find something on Google right now.
Well, something kind of interesting in America, I don't think a lot of people realize, is that when they put out a cabinet for something, like I own a cabinet for Tempest, but I don't have Tempest is not in my cabinet. It's Major Havoc is what I own, and the reason is that they put out these conversion kits for these cabinets, so you don't have to repurchase the cabinet, and essentially it would have the board and a new marquee, and then sometimes it would have a new control panel. So it allows you to upgrade to a new game that might be more profitable without having to spend all the money to import a huge cabinet into your shop. So it's not uncommon here in America to find games that were their conversions, and the original game that came in that cabinet setup isn't in there any longer.
Interesting. Sadly, I don't think I'm finding any right now. What should I type? It just I don't know what to type at this spur of the moment to find them. But yeah, like I'd like to try and find something, but yeah, I'm not being very lucky right now. I'll keep searching. If I find something, I'll share the screen so you guys can see it. But,
so Mike, do you strictly collect for the Vita?
Yeah, that's the only thing I collect. I used to actually collect for just about everything, but then I was like, man, I can't have all these systems around. I'm moving too much. I gotta focus on one thing. So I really like the Vita. So.
Okay, I'm gonna share the screen so you guys can see it, and hopefully I can make it so it's viewable on the live stream as well. So let me see if I can pull some internet magic really quickly. Hold on. How do I do this? Okay, I think I know how. I'm gonna paste the link on the Skype chat, and I'm gonna put it on the stream. Give me a second.
Okay.
Add new source and display capture. Add source, display. Okay. Can you guys? I'm guessing this stream can see it right now. Do you guys? I know it's a bit of a blurry picture, so bear with me. But what you basically see here is like an arcade machine running Street Fighter 2, but you'll notice the arcade machine itself is very generic. Like, it doesn't have any art on it, doesn't have any names on, and it doesn't say the name of the game. There's absolutely nothing about the arcade cabinet that will that tells you it belongs to Capcom or it belongs to Street Fighter. They're just generic shells, basically. So you would see a lot of these. I think this is the only difference from the US or Canadian arcade scene, or the UK arcade scene as well. Other than that, the games are pretty much the same, I believe.
Just a TV in a box.
Yeah, basically.
You didn't have any of the really cool sit-down arcade systems?
Oh, we had some of those. Yeah, you would also find the official arcade cabinet as well, including like the Afterburner cabinet, which had those rotary motors that where your seat would spin around as you pilot your airplane. You would find those as well, but a lot of arcade games would also have like maybe half of their rooms filled with these because they'd be cheaper. They'd be like budget versions. Okay, so there we go. Returning to Skype, and there we go. Skype is back. So I think that's pretty much the major difference but between our arcades. But other than that, they were pretty much the same, I believe.
So, Mike, what did you pick up this month?
Just those. Actually, no, I did pick up other ones. Hold on, let me find them.
Did you get anything good in your blind boxes?
I actually didn't. I didn't open it up. I was waiting for a little bit. I thought maybe I'd do like an Instagram video or some crap like that. But we'll see. Let me see here. Okay. I got Salt and Sanctuary. That was one of the games I picked up at PRG.
I'd like to get that game, actually.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool, and I heard it was kind of like a Dark Souls.
Yeah.
But I haven't played it just yet. And I picked up... actually, I think you were talking about this earlier, St1ka, Xenon Valkyrie.
Yeah, I got the PS4 version.
Oh, I actually just got the Vita. And
I think it's the best thing.
Yeah. I think that's about it. I haven't been buying too much because, we recently moved, so got no money.
I see we have some questions here. Let me just answer them really quickly. The A&D is asking, do they have foosball tables with metal players? Foosball tables are literally everywhere in Portugal still to this day. And yeah, sometimes they have metal players, sometimes they have wooden players. Wooden are definitely the most common ones, but you'll find foosball literally everywhere. My old job had a foosball table. Like you'll go to a lot of these younger companies or jobs will have foosball players. Cafes will have them, restaurants will have them. They're literally everywhere. And Video Game Boutique is asking, why did they only allow kids 16 and up to enter arcades? Because arcades were seen as kind of seedy or kind of weird place for kids to go. So most arcades would generally ban anyone who was under 16, mostly as a way to protect themselves. Like if they ban kids from going in there, then there won't be any drama or any moral outrage. So it was a way of them protecting themselves. And the ND was also saying that the arcade version I showed looks unofficial. I honestly have no idea if these generic arcades were official or not. I really have no idea. I would not be surprised if they were pirate games, because even back then, when I was a kid, it was not uncommon to see bootleg Game Boy games or bootleg NES games or bootleg NES consoles being sold alongside the official stuff in big retailers or Toys R Us or whatever. So it is possible.
Yeah, if anybody else has questions, feel free to just drop them in chat and we'll get to them. Somebody was asking about Portland Retro Gaming Expo. What do we think about it? He says, maybe you're a she, I don't know. Beautiful Joe, I'm assuming you're a he, says they've been going for 3 years now. I thought it was fantastic. It's the first expo I've ever been to, and it was beyond my wildest expectations. I met up with a bunch of friends. I met new people there that I became friends with. In fact, Mike from Space Asylum, I met there, and we hit it off.
Yeah,
and he's here in chat right now, and I'll probably be talking to him all the way up until next year when I'll try to attend again. I think it's a must attend event. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. It was just like so nice to like actually meet people, people who like games too, you know. And man, it's just so much going on, and like it's just amazing.
I'm jealous.
Can't wait. You should be.
Yeah, because the thing is, we don't have retro gaming expos. The few gaming expos we have are on modern games. So when I go there, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of not for me. I don't really care about like Battlefield or Call of Duty or Hearthstone or I don't know. What's that FPS game kids keep playing these days? What's the one?
Call of Duty? Did you say that one?
No, the PC one, the online free one.
Fortnite?
Fortnite, yeah.
Fortnite, yeah. Like, I don't care about Fortnite. And
you don't care about Fortnite? What's wrong with you?
And it's all about those games, so I'm like, yeah, this is kind of not for me.
Broven, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Have a fantastic night.
See you,
good night.
And anytime at D&D.
Yeah, St1ka, you have to make it out here. We got to get your passport in order, and then we have to just plan on getting you out here. I'm going to stay additional days in Portland next time, and you can just stay with me. We'll make arrangements. It's going to be a blast.
Sounds good. I mean, next year I do have vacation days finally, so I should be able to book like a week or two or something.
Yeah, so you definitely should.
I'd be up for that.
Doug wants to know,
pretty cool.
What's the rarest game in your collection?
Ooh, tough one. You want
I used to have. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, I interrupted you. You go ahead, man. You go ahead. Sorry.
I used to have Magical Poppin'. I don't know if you guys know that game. The Super Famicom.
I do not know it.
Name something.
You don't know? Actually, I gave it to Jimmy Hapa.
Oh,
it was
this
like
game.
Yeah, for a while it was like going for like 3,000. I couldn't believe it, but
holy heck, that's an expensive game.
I ended up actually I was in Akihabara while I was like studying Japanese, and I picked it up for like $80, and I was actually in the Super Potato, but yeah, I ended up giving it to him. It was just like kind of a trade. I know it really meant a lot to him, but we just like traded a bunch of Vita games for it. So that was like currently now though, probably Harvest Moon on the Super Nintendo's my most rare, or I guess expensive. I don't know how rare it is, but
for me it's kind of difficult to equate expensive because a lot of the rare games I own were actually pretty common and fairly cheap in my country, but they were pretty rare in the rest of the world, and the reason for that is that the Sega Saturn was very popular here, like very popular. It actually was neck and neck against the PS1 for its first couple of years. Wow. So like back in the day, I bought a lot of Saturn games really cheap, which are now very expensive, sadly. But if I had to pick like the most expensive game I own, I guess it would be a Saturn game which is actually a US import, which would be Magic Knight Riot for the Saturn.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I guess that would be the one. Although I do have other rare games for the Saturn, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Magic Knight Riot, I suppose.
Yeah, for me,
yeah,
man, that's a real tough deal because I have some expensive games, but I don't know if they're as rare as some of the other games I have that go for a lot less money. But yeah, I have the Spider-Man game on the 32X, which is fairly expensive and is kind of rare. The most expensive game I think I own is because I know I have some other games that are I don't keep track of the value, so it's Panzer Dragoon Saga.
Oh, I wanted that game so bad.
And that's also very rare. Supposedly it was only 10,000 made, and that's why it's so expensive.
Yeah, I want that game so bad.
But I was talking to John Hancock about that Surgical Strike on the 32X that was repressed, and it is a bootleg, but there's only 2 known to actually be in existence of the original game, which I don't own. But the bootleg copy, there's only 100 pressings of that game.
Oh.
So I own one of those, so that's only one of 100. So it's only one of 102 out there in the wild.
That's pretty good. That's pretty rare.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably some of the rarest stuff I own.
Man, I want Panzer Dragoon Saga, damn it. that game just keeps getting more expensive, sadly. But yeah, I guess, I guess Magic Knight Rarity is the most expensive game I own, or at least the rarest one, I suppose. I'm not really sure what else I could name though.
Yeah.
Do you guys find it? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, if you have another question on the same subject, I'm curious after that what everyone is working on after what they have coming up next, because I know what you have coming up next. At least St1ka. I don't know about Mike, but I'd like to hear what's in store for the future of your channels. But continue on with what you're talking about.
Now, I was asking, do you guys find it difficult to find the shelf space to store your games? Because I'm having that issue.
Yeah, exactly.
It's terrible, man.
Yeah. I often find myself reorganizing all of my shelves to see if I can maximize the space. But even then, it's getting difficult.
Yeah, that's why I don't buy special editions. I just don't have space for it. I can only get like standards.
These days, I only buy special editions if they're like steel books or relatively small. If they're large boxes, no, I just ignore them.
Yeah, I can't. Definitely
you can see I have games behind me, and I have games that you can't see over here and behind the computer. But this is my office, and my office is actually part of a horse barn out away from my house. And if you go into my house, is where I have most of my games. And they're all stored away to where you wouldn't even know that I have games or play games at all. So
that's pretty cool, though. You got a little game dungeon, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
That's cool.
You're asking what videos I'm working on in the future. I actually have I'm still just in the script writing phase, but I do have several stuff that I'm working on. I'm working on a collaboration with Top Hat Gaming Man over the Zeebo. Apparently he ordered a Zeebo, and he was like, hey, you're Portuguese, so you could probably help me with the research on the Zeebo. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that. I'll send you I'll write something and send you a script.
That's cool.
I am 1 week overdue on the script that I was supposed to send him, so I need to get on that fast. I've also been working on a I love the Legacy of Kain series, or at least I grew up in the Legacy of Kain series. I've been reviewing them one by one, and I'm currently over halfway through Blood Omen 2, so I want to review that as well. I'm also working on another mini documentary video on Brazilian gaming history, which I'm gonna call the Sega mascot you never heard, or the Sega mascot you never knew, which is in Brazil, Tectoy would change a lot of games or a lot of sprites, and they would rebrand them, and they in the process created a new mascot called Sapo Chulé, which is, it literally translates to smelly foot frog, I guess. And that was pretty much like their mascot for 3 or 4 games, basically. So I'm gonna go into the history of that.
Nice.
That's great.
As far as me, I just got done with Oedo Blacksmith, and that took forever. That was like over a month, just chugging away on that one.
Is it the playtime that kills you on these, or? Yeah,
it's usually the playtime, but then like I kind of get in these little trances when I start editing, and I'm like trying to put in like kind of like I don't know if it's artistic, but just kind of like a little bit more visual things. So those always end up taking more time. I'll start at like 8 o'clock, and I'm like, oh shit, it's 11, and I did like 5 seconds. That's usually what takes so long. But I'm actually going to work on another game that I'm playing, NG, for the PlayStation Vita, believe it or not.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, it's actually like the, it's not, I'd say like a spiritual sequel to Deathmark Sheen, which I also did review on, but it's like a visual novel that's kind of like it's actually a little bit different than Deathmark, which had like a little more like RPG kind of feel to it, but this is like a lot more just like visual novel. But yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. I don't know when I'll get that done. Maybe next month.
If I could just fanboy over the Vita for a minute. And by the way, one thing I absolutely love that you've done on your videos is a lot of the special effects. Like you have this deal where it looks like a CD, and then you have voiceover, and it kind of comes out of the CD and visualizes that voice. I guess you can just call it an audio visualizer. That's incredible, man. It's freaking great.
That's really easy to do, actually, on After Effects.
Doug, thank you so much for coming by. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Doug.
Next time, we'll see you.
Seeing how you're leaving, I'll just answer really quickly. Yes, I'm talking about Soft Schle. I know it's an official ROM hack from Tectoy, but they sort of kind of turned it into a mascot, which is why I'm hoping to make a video out of it. Sorry. Anyway, you guys were saying, my bad.
Yeah. So going back to this deal with the Vita, and do you own a Vita, St1ka?
No, but I kind of wish I did. Sadly.
Yeah, you really need to, because there's all these obscure games on there, and remasterings of games on there, especially some PS2 heavy stuff. And what makes it really amazing is that essentially it was the Switch before the Switch was the Switch. Like, essentially, Sony had the idea for the Switch, and Nintendo perfected it.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what it boils down to.
It's just, I don't have the budget to collect for more consoles, I guess.
That's why I focus on the Vita.
Oh, yeah, but I gotta focus on more stuff. My channel is retro, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I want to. I really want to. Maybe, tell you what, maybe when my Patreon gets bigger, I'll be able to afford a Vita as well.
They are pretty expensive, even.
One game I highly recommend that you play, St1ka, is Odin Sphere. I know you own a PS4.
Yeah,
you need to buy Odin Sphere.
I have
Odin Sphere, definitely.
I have the PS2 and PS4 versions of Odin Sphere, so I'm
good for you. Good for you.
Anything made.
This is why we're friends.
Anything made by Vanillaware is gold, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, definitely.
Dragon's Crown. I want to get Muramasa for the Wii. And
you should get it. Don't get it for the Vita, man. Get it for the Vita. Way better.
Rebirth on Vita is excellent.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't get it on the Wii. Don't waste your time with the Wii.
Dragon's Crown. Dragon's Crown is fantastic.
Great. I'm the PS3 version and the PS4 remaster. And if I spoke Japanese, I'd also get Princess Crown. So you know.
Yeah. How is that? Have you played that, Mike?
Yeah. Wait. Princess Crown? No, I don't think I actually have.
It's a Saturn game.
Yeah.
No, heck no. I've never even played a Saturn, to be honest.
Oh my goodness.
It's basically a prequel to Dragon's Crown.
So what we need to do, St1ka, what we need to do is I need to pick up a copy of that game. When we all go to Portland, I'll bring up one of my Saturns. We'll hook it up, and Mike will translate the game for us as we're playing through it, so we know what the story is.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
Now we're talking.
That is a party right there. That's the party I want to go to.
But while we're at
go ahead.
The problem with the PSP, I love the PSP, and I collect for D&D, but the problem is that it doesn't have any way to really easily play it on your TV without being tethered to the system, to the TV, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because with the Vita, you have the Vita TV, so even though it's kind of a pain in the butt, and you have to take out the memory card, and you have to take out the game card, and you have to switch it over to the other system, it's still, you can still sit back with a PS3 or PS4 controller on your couch and enjoy the game from there, and then take out the game card, take out the memory card, and put it back into your system and take it on the go. But with the PSP, you're tethered with these short 6 or 7 foot cords to the back of the TV, and that is if your TV can even accept the signals, or if you even find good cables that don't end up shorting out. For me, I've had nothing but problems trying to tether my PSP to the TV with good results.
I bought a few cables for my PSP, and the video signal was had this red and green tint over it. It looked really weird, almost unplayable. I'm trying to find a way to record PSP footage.
Yeah, I just couldn't get into the PSP because of the UMDs. I just can't do UMDs. It's just too much load time, all that.
Yeah, the UMD was not very good due to the loading times. That is true.
Hey, I have about 100 PSP games, so I really love the system. I just find that if you don't have either, go with the Vita. You're going to be so much happier.
Yeah,
you really are.
Vita's...
It really is a perfect system. It really is.
I agree. Having a dual analog is amazing.
I mean, the sad part about it is that they are still making games for the Vita, but the system is essentially dead. So it's sitting in that spot that the Wii is essentially sitting in, where people just don't want to buy anything for it, and they're not really talking about it. So if that is your passion, then there's really no ears listening to what you have to say. And there's really no conversation going on about the system for the most part.
Well, I'm pretty used to people not listening to me, to be honest.
This is not a hit on you, Mike. This is not a hit on you. This is just factual, though. I mean, you're coming from a very tough spot, and hopefully in about 4 to 7 years, your channel will just take off because people you'll like Spider 1A, where you're the only one really covering the Vita, and people will say, "Oh, look, this guy puts out quality content, and he's covered most of the library." And it's been going on for about 8 years, and now the system's back into favor. And you need to be watching Space Asylum right now.
I can't wait till I'm 40. Yeah, I can't wait till I'm 40.
And then you're gonna get rich, Mike. You'll see.
Finally. I'll get that YouTube money, man. Ooh, yeah.
The good old fame. YouTube money.
That YouTube e-fame.
Yeah. Can't wait. Won't be able to walk out of my apartment.
I do have a bit of bad news, folks. And that is, it's a little past midnight here, and I do have to work tomorrow. So, you know, I will have to log off soon, though. Just have to point that out. And I'm fairly certain. I think this stream video paused. Give me a second. Okay, it's back. It's back. Okay, it's back. It's my bad. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine. We're talking about going until about 5 o'clock. It's a little bit past that, so even though we started late, I'm happy to have Mike here for the full time. If there's any other questions that anybody in the chat has for us, or maybe if I missed something and you wanted to answer, go ahead and ask.
I want to say I agree with the A&D that the PSP is really great value. I think the PSP has great games. I do think it's held back by some limitations, like plugging into the TV or the long loadings. But the game selection is solid. It's really solid. My PSP collection isn't as big as I'd like it to be, but I do love the PSP in general.
No, I just can't get over the thumbstick thing. It's just not working for me. It's this weird slider thing. I can't get into.
But it has so many great RPGs and 2D games.
Although, like, Metal Gear Peace Walker was pretty amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, I love the Vita so much more than the PSP that I bought Persona 3 FES on the PSP, and then I remembered that I can map the shoulder buttons to the right thumbstick, so I bought the digital copy on my Vita so I can play through the game with the thumbstick.
That's a smart choice.
Yeah, and it was great. Yeah, my favorite controller. Oh my goodness, that's a big bag of worms. And as I always tell anybody when we're discussing controllers, it's really dependent on how big of a person you are and how big your hands are. Yeah. I'm not very big. I'm 5'8", and my hands aren't that large, so I actually enjoy the smaller controllers. And for me, I probably have to go generation by generation because I don't know if I have a controller that really is my favorite overall. It's more my favorite for that generation or for those style of games. So, like if we're looking at the second generation, it's going to be the regular Nintendo controller. For the 16-bit generation, it's going to be the Sega 6-button controller. For the following generation after that, it's going to be the Sega Saturn controller.
Yeah, same here.
And then we go after that. We get into probably the PS2 controller. I think that's an incredible controller. It's a shame that you have to go.
I never held an original Xbox or GameCube controller, so I have to default to the PS2 on that one. Gosh
dang it, I actually forgot about the GameCube. That's actually, I love that controller. People hate it, but I think it's actually very comfortable. Mike, you're like the same size as me. What do you think?
I'm definitely into the GameCube controller, but I do like the PS3 controller, but I haven't even played a PS4, to be honest, so I don't know what...
Oh, that controller is fantastic. But it really depends on what kind of games you're playing, like shooting games, and that Xbox One X Elite controller, I think that's what it's called. It's freaking these dumb, long names. That's one of the best controllers ever made. It really is, and the fact that you can actually mount the buttons underneath the controller itself, so you can actually hit them with your fingers, makes it, just opens up opens it up to where you can just keep your thumbs on the control sticks and never have to leave that setup, you know, and that's ingenious.
Everybody knows the best controller ever is the Kinect.
That's very true.
Oh,
your body.
It's your body. Nothing beats the Kinect, damn it.
When you talk to somebody who's really big, though, over like 6 foot tall, you know, a lot of times you're going to hear them say the Duke, the original Duke controller, the original Xbox controller, that big one. They love that. They love the Atari Jaguar controller. That thing is massive, though. It's really uncomfortable to hold if you have small hands. A lot of those guys absolutely hate the PlayStation controllers as well. So it really comes down to hand size and you know, when you're getting controller recommendations.
Like for me, yeah, my tastes are pretty much on the same line of yours. I think that the generation following the PS2, I really enjoyed the Xbox 360 controller. I thought it was much more comfortable than the PS3 controller. I really did not like those shoulder buttons on the PS3, the L2 and R2. And in this generation, I prefer the PS4 controller, and that's pretty much it. Like before that, I pretty much follow the same path as yours. I prefer the Saturn 6-button controller, the Model 2 version, the Genesis 6-button controller, the NES controller. So you know, it's pretty much the same path as yours, Genovi.
I've never actually messed with a Master System controller because I always use the pass-through on my Genesis. So how's that?
The D-pad isn't great. The D-pad is not great at all. It's very weird. Like I use it because I like it, but it's weird. It's the best. It's not very precise, that D-pad.
Nice.
So,
well, we probably should wrap this up so Steve can get to bed and I can get in and grab dinner, and Mike doesn't get in trouble.
Yeah, I gotta go clean. I gotta clean my room.
Clean his room.
So that's it,
make
folks.
sure you check out these guys on YouTube. 1ka, you can find him at 1ka. Mike's channel is Space Asylum. Highly recommend that you go and check out what he's doing. His videos are incredible. Both of these guys' videos are incredible. I don't just have them on to chat with me because I like them. I highly respect both of these gentlemen. So make sure you go and check out what they're doing. And until next time, thank you for tuning in for this inaugural mess of a live stream and listening to our flow of consciousness. We appreciate it.
It's a historic moment.
Damn
See ya.
right.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.